I'll just say this. It became apparent to me early in this game, and the injuries matter. Lions fans, I will give you that. I bust y'all's balls a lot, but when I told you I gave out the Chiefs, the injuries were at least part of the reason I gave out the Chiefs. And, I haven't gotten a Lions game wrong yet this year, so take it up with management. But I gave out the Chiefs because of the injuries in the secondary to the Lions. I think the Lions, this is a really quality win for the Chiefs because of who they beat, in my opinion. The Lions, and I said this last night, I think the three teams that are playing the best right now in the NFC, because I left one out, I think it's the Bucks, I think it's the Lions, and I think it's the Seahawks. Those three teams in this little small window right now are playing the best. That could change. It ebbs and flows all year. So this is a really, really big win for the Lions. And it became apparent to me on that first drive that it was all about time of possession, keeping the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands. It's a beautiful drive. Obviously ends at the goal line, but it was going to be about red zone. It was going to be about money downs. And I thought the two biggest moments in the game were obviously Detroit on the illegal motion, which was discussed after the play. We can get to that in a second.
Oof.
And the 4th and 2 where St. Brown drops the ball. Because at that point in the game, you're 10-6, you've got the football, you can go up 17-6, or Kansas City can take the ball back and go 2 for 1, which they did. And there were a lot of moments in between those moments, but those two moments to me were huge because they kind of defined the game and the way it was played. And Kansas City jumping on an opportunity for situational football and getting that score before the half, and then coming out of the half and getting points.
Felt like the Amon-Ra St. Brown drop, just from that point forward, them being able to go 2 for 1 there, and the Lions not seeing the ball again before half was it put them really behind. Like you said, that wasn't the game script the Lions wanted. Falling behind 10, even though they came out and were able to put together a scoring drive in the second half. On the heels of that, the Lions needed a stop defensively. They couldn't get it. Then they go 3 and out, and they're back and looking at that 10-point advantage of the Chiefs again. So I think that the Lions, like, we've seen them come from behind. We've seen them win in the drop-back passing game. It was more about the Chiefs' offense in this game being rolling and being able to just maintain that commanding lead all the way through the game and be productive all 4 quarters.
We've said this over and over again. The Chiefs are going to be scary. And now it's not a future thing, it's a right now thing. So, board up the windows and, batten down the hatches because this offense is going to look as good as it's looked since fucking, 2018.
Yeah.
Because Rashee Rice is coming back this week. We talked about the effect that Worthy has on the run game, on the screen game, on stretching the field vertically, horizontally. And, they found guys like Thornton along the way, through the growing pains. And so, I think even with Simmons out last night, that was one big injury that came up late. It wasn't an injury. He was in California on a personal issue, which obviously our thoughts are with him and his family or whatever's going on, because that's never a good thing when all of a sudden on a Sunday you hear the guy's not even in town, he's back in California dealing with something. But to be down that tackle against, just a total stud in Hutchinson, who, like the godfather of offense. I don't know why you would ever leave Noah Gray on him. And somebody was like, well, that was on Patrick. And then Bill Barnwell tweeted, which I love, was like, Noah Gray was moving 8.5 miles per hour backwards. Next Gen Stats figured that out, that he was he wasn't speeding in a school zone, but he was moving towards Patrick at an alarming rate. That's what happens when you leave a tight end on a guy like that. And I don't love booting into Hutchinson, but generally I thought the game plan was great. And for Kelvin Shepherd, I thought keeping the points down through a lot of game and just giving your team a chance. He's not going to get the credit because they don't come up with the win, but there were a lot of guys down last night, and they found a way to be competitive. So that Lions grit is always there. And there were moments where it looked like hell defending Jared Goff on that second drive. The protection was great, and one of the themes that's going to come out of this game is where's the pass rush for the Chiefs. Eventually they get there on 4th and 2. Dana and Jones win, but he was ripping digs like it's his fucking job, because it is, and he throws that ball as good as anybody in the game. The one to Laporta, the one to J-Mo.
Yeah.
You know, if you give them the time to do that, they're dangerous. And there was a moment before that 4th and 2 where I said, golly, they can't stop the run either. Remember, Gibbs got lost in the crowd.
Yeah.
This is a game that could easily go either way.
Yep.
But the Chiefs' offense is just in too good a shape, and Spags eventually got a few stops.
Yeah, and specific to this matchup, you mentioned Shepard having his work cut out for him. They were in base personnel over 76% of the time last night. That's a really tough place to live because of those corner injuries. And that's a really tough place to live against this Chiefs offense, because what they do, you know, even before getting, you know, Rice back, presumably this week, they have so many guys who can create after the catch, and they force you to tackle in space. And even when those plays aren't there early in the down, now you're looking at a scramble drill situation where it's tough on the communication.
It's even worse.
And it's, I mean, nobody can cover.
No,
for
I'm
over 3
really
seconds,
I'm
let
really
alone-
impressed with Jack Campbell and Chenault.
Totally.
Those two guys, both. Those two big athletic SOBs, dude.
Chanel, you see Chanel on Amon-Ra St. Brown on like
Absolutely. In
it was
the
like
flat.
space. Yeah, it was
Second and
it was
8.
early in the game. That's how I was like, yeah, Amon-Ra might be a little dinged up. You know what I mean? He didn't quite seem like himself between the drop and then I think he's dealing with a little bit of an ankle injury. But anyway, Leo Chanel is a dog, and he's actually, I think those two players, Jack Campbell and Leo, like pretty good comparison there between the two of them as far as like size, physicality, and kind of like, you know, what they bring to the table defensively. I thought I actually had like Leo, he played phenomenal, man, and I was surprised that the Lions didn't try to just mash the ball a little bit more offensively. I thought that they would. I mean, they damn near rushed for 100 yards, but it just seemed like that was going to be maybe a little more of an emphasis for them going into it. And I was surprised. Now, some of that is just kind of because of how the game went. But it just felt like their, you know, that identity was missing a little bit for them from me.
Yeah, and if the game played out differently, I think they might have been able to run for
Right.
150 in that game. I mean, Kansas City, quiet as kept, the defense is a little bit of an issue. You know, the pass rush is just not like outside of, and Dana had a great rush. I mentioned that on 4th and 2. Omenahu eventually got home, but like when Skipper's out there at tackle, and hey, God bless him, dude, because he did a great job of just, you know, hey, keep your big body in the way. You know, just don't get beat fast. And, you know, if you get beat, get run over, make it slow. And that's eventually what happened to him. But I thought, you know, I thought, you know, the guys inside, for the most part, held up okay against Chris Jones.
Mm-hmm.
He got Ratledge on some up and unders. And obviously with the game in the biggest spots, you expect Chris Jones to make those plays. So it was a redeeming game for Chris Jones just to make the big plays in the big spots. But it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like he just took the game over. This game was a game that was on a razor's edge for a while, and it was going to be like an every possession counts game. And in a game like that, and Goff was fucking amazing, and he is an amazing thrower of the football, but like Mahomes just gives you so much from a mobility standpoint in a game where there's going to be like possessions are at a premium.
Yeah.
And so when you've got it's 4th down, it's 4th and 2, we're going because we're afraid of the Lions offense and we can't just punt the ball back to them. That type of game, when you have a quarterback that can go sprint right option, that can get you out of trouble, that can scramble. I mean, we saw some instances last night where you're like, oh, that's vintage Mahomes. And
Right.
and what
Especially
makes
against he's especially dangerous against the base, like you were talking about. Nolan, you know what I mean? Because like those dudes, the Chiefs, it feels like they just got an influx of speed recently, obviously with Worthy and, you know, Rice coming back. That's a bad matchup with Mahomes on the edge. And then, dude, I'm always surprised by his speed, but I'm always surprised by his physicality as a runner. That sounds like a joke or like me being tongue in cheek, but it's not. You saw Collinsworth salivating over that hit that he took, and he's like, oh, here's a guy who can do it with his feet and then almost get a first down. He's still like 3 yards short, but like he took a couple shots on that run.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just always surprised by his like toughness and athleticism out of the pocket, man. He got a weird style of running. We all kind of know that, but like he really is effective.
Dude, as soon as he did that last night, and there's so many instances of this where could he run over Mustafa at the goal line like last year in the San Francisco game? You know, like what he does on the sideline is not a barometer on how tough the guy is. I get real tired of like people who don't play contact sports, never have, calling him a bitch or what have you, because on the sideline he plays a game. Okay? That's some gamesmanship. I don't love it. As a defensive lineman, we try to tattoo you on the sideline, and then we'll pick up the pieces later and figure it out. But like in the middle of the field, the guy turns into like, I don't know, a guy with a leather football helmet on. Seriously,
looking like Tim Tebow out there at times.
No, I mean, one thing you can't say about this guy is he's soft, and I know that the whole country wants to hate Mahomes and call him names, but that dude's tough. And when you do shit like that, it really earns the respect of your teammates. And after the game, we got to talk about that in a second here. But listen, I got a soapbox moment. Get Mahomes quarterback 13 of 32 off my television screen. Like, get it. We're talking about legislation, what our kids shouldn't see at school, what they shouldn't be learning about. Like, should we have political ads on television? I want the PFF scores off the TV as bad as I want political ads off the television, because, like, God forbid there's somebody watching the game who doesn't know who fucking Patrick Mahomes is.
Right.
They're going to be badly misguided, brother.
Mm-hmm.
13th best quarterback in the league. I mean, if I was not Nandi, and maybe he earned it this year, but I would fucking sue. I'd be in Chris Collinsworth's backyard, dude. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I'd be at the window. Right. Like, what the fuck? You can't do that, dude. It's crazy to me that every Sunday night.
Made comments about the PFF grades too. I think it was last week or maybe the week before. He's like, I just don't know what the hell they're looking at sometimes. How do you have a guy who's grading somebody and you have no idea what he's being coached? And every single player is like seeing those comments on social media and just be like, yes, Spags, yes.
It was gratifying to hear Spags say that. Very, very gratifying. But at the end of the game, the fight, we were in there last night looking at it like John Boy.
We were breaking down all 22.
We were breaking down.
Let them fight.
We were trying to figure out like who was who. I think we got
diving into rock.
It was Millette. It took us a long time to figure out who was like doing the we call him groundhog now.
Yes.
But it took us a while to figure out that it was Millette that like burrowed into the pile of people. Mm-hmm. Like, and then came out, and a dude in a hoodie for the Chiefs just big boyed him and like tackled him. And then Millette's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like Millette looks shocked that happened to him, and he's like burrowing under.
He burrows under and gets fucking clobbered in the nose. Like,
crazy, dude.
It's like, why'd you dive in the bottom of the pile?
But JuJu got pieced, and JuJu comes out with like a bloody nose and shit.
It. Well overdue for JuJu. I'm sorry, JuJu, for as many TikTok dances and logos you've danced on, and you have done in people's faces. And like, hey, look, I'm saying, yeah, he deserved it. But what's funny to me about this whole situation is when you do these type of dances and you taunt people in your face, you have to know that at some point someone's not going to accept it, and they're going to hit you in the mouth. And when he got hit in his mouth, he tried to flop. He tried to flop after the game, the first initial hit. And it's just like, and then he kind of like realized that.
Can you pull it up here so we can see it? We don't have to, I don't want to get sued.
I think he realized like, hey, this isn't during the game, so I can't get a penalty and get the satisfaction that I want. And he's like, oh, wait, I got to go do something about this. And then gets rolled up.
Dog, it was chaos in there. I mean, you've been in a football fight.
Yeah.
I mean, that was kind of...
Look at it. Look at that.
Well, yeah, it took him a second, and then he tried to run at him, but at that point...
And then look...
No, but he wasn't saying, hold me back.
No, but like, why do you go at him? You're not really trying to fight. Look at this.
What do you mean?
You're coming straight at me while one of your teammates is holding me, and you still let the dude grab your face mask and get the position? Like, do something.
I don't know, bro. I think he's trying to come at Brian Branch, but Pacheco's running interference unintentionally. Like, there's no target to strike. Branch just was like absolutely OD after the game, and there was some extracurricular shit during the game, and I'm sure there was shit from the Chiefs too, for sure. And I know there's a lot of frustration in this game. Like, I know people think that the Travis Kelce DPI was late. It clearly was either DPI or holding. Clearly, okay? I don't think that was a catch. That's why the Chiefs hustled up to the line to snap the ball. We see that all the time in football. If the Chiefs can see it, so can you. So be mad at the coaching staff, okay? And the other thing on the goal line, from the people that are in the know that explain to me, like, this is something that happens all the time. Like, I'm not an NFL official. This is a legal motion. They can huddle. They can talk about it. There was that shit. Tempers were flaring. There was Aiden Hutchinson hitting Patrick late, which I totally get because I think two things happened there. I think he got kind of pushed into Patrick, and I think he thought Patrick maybe pumped the ball because the ball came out so weird. Like, I don't even know if.
To me, that's not cheap though. Like, you can say whatever you want, but like, there's tons of roughing the passers every week. Like, he's just trying to compete and play hard.
That's what I'm saying right now.
Patrick Mahomes, he got called for it. You know what I mean? Right. But
Mahomes didn't see it. So, like, to him, it felt like the dude just took 4 steps and cleaned his clock. So he got up pissed, like, kind of like, what the fuck, dude? Like, you? Like, I thought we weren't like that. And then, like, in the end zone, Branch kind of, when Mahomes scored that touchdown, Branch kind of came across, and this is a little thing, but, like, kind of came across and hooked him and gave him that little extra shove. And then Mahomes pointed at him, did the, it could be taunting. But, at the end of the day, this was a chippy game. And after the game, for Branch to do that, here's the thing. You can get mad at us for taking a balanced stance on this thing, or not motherfucking Mahomes for X, Y, and Z. But, like, your coach, Dan Campbell, said after the game that Brian Branch's actions were inexcusable. So take it up with Dan Campbell. Because that, and
along those lines, Chris, I was gonna say, like, I was really impressed with Dan Campbell. Like, he gets this, he's a meathead and he gets a rep as a meathead, and we joke about how he eats 3 pints of ice cream a night and stuff like that. But, like, the bottom line is he fucking cares a ton about his players and he cares a ton about his team. And he was incredibly well spoken. And I thought the way that he handled that situation, to me, was really impressive. I think it would have been really easy for him to not do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. That's kind of what I took away from that. Is like, this is a dude cares a ton about his players. He, walked a fine line of saying the right things while still admonishing one of his, good players. And I think he handled it well.
He did handle it well, and listen, they have a tough culture there. Like, we all know these teams that I've played on, certain teams that played on the edge. Like Jeff Fisher's teams, we were known for playing on the edge, and some people would even call us dirty sometimes. And then Greg Williams was our D coordinator, and then we're like, fuck, like,
yeah, we're a little dirty.
A little bit,
yeah,
but and a little, like, playing on the edge is good.
Yeah, for sure.
But you can hurt your team here.
Yeah.
Because there will be suspensions possibly coming out of this fight.
You think suspension?
Possibly.
Yeah,
for sure.
Maybe, yeah.
There were punches thrown, and I don't know who it's going to be. But Dan Campbell's in the business of winning football games, and, like, winning on the edge, playing on the edge, like, that's what we want to be. We want to be edgy. We want to be motherfuckers, dude. Like, everything about the Lions says, like, tough ass team. But it was interesting to see Dan draw the line in the sand and be like, hey, we're not that team though.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, it is cool. Yeah. It is cool. So,
I got one thing before we move on here, Chris. Yeah. It's coming up in the chat a little bit as I'm monitoring it live here on my second monitor. But I am also a little bit surprised about the fact that Dr. Fax didn't bring this stat up, and that is that there were 0 penalties called on the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. You have any thoughts on that, Fax?
Oh, I have a lot of thoughts on the NFL refs just in general for this entire slate and this entire year. And it's one of those things that I just have to pick and choose when I'm going to spaz on them. And I don't know if this is the game I particularly want to be upset about, because whenever the Kansas City Chiefs play, it's one of those things where benefit of the doubt is going to them. I don't know why. And I don't know if I watch enough games to have my mind be skewed a different way. But certain guys get calls, and I think that the Kansas City Chiefs are definitely one of them. But NFL refs as a whole, and then an independent referee that's at the game explaining what's going on, the NFL as a whole has to do better with that, because you can't have me watching the game and have a guy on TV telling me what a call is and what's supposed to be going on, and then the complete opposite happens, like, in front of our eyes.
Welcome to football.
Like, it's just.
But when did we do this study last year?
It gets bad.
We did. And I came home from Philly when we were up at the birthday bar, and I'd put, like, the house on the fucking Bills, and they lost to the Chiefs, and there was a whole tush push thing, and I had been, had the Chiefs back all year, because, like, there isn't a lot of data that supports that they're getting every call. It's a self-fulfilling, and I fell into it. after that game because I'm like, I had the fucking because I don't hate the Chiefs,
Yeah.
but for a night I hated the Chiefs because
Yeah.
I was on the Bills.
You're on the other side of the
So you're just constantly looking for it, dude. I watch football all day. People miss calls
They
left
miss
and
calls
right,
all-
and I'm
all
sure
the
the
time.
Chiefs get a
All the
little bit
time.
more leeway than a bad team for sure, dude.